Not using the microphone this time. I have spent the morning out at the Albuquerque rail yard. Delightful time out there. Great to see families coming out. The music was my favorite. Of course, he reeled me in with the cumbia, but great live music. Delightful. And was out today to get signatures for the petition for Mr. Alexander Ubayas to be able to run as mayor for Albuquerque. So in this state and in this area, there's candidates who want to run, and we have quite a few who have put their names in the hat. Of course, our incumbent mayor, who I am absolutely opposed to at this time, his first little time in office. I mean, I did campaign for him. I did get signatures for him, but about 2 years in, that guy sold his soul for fame, power, and it's terrible and it's awful. And the Democratic Party of New Mexico should be ashamed of themselves for supporting this guy for a third term, bringing in the National Guard. And then I learned today, and this doesn't have anything to do with Alex, I learned today that the New Mexico National Guard, here's how it happened. So the KRQE ran an episode last night, or posted that and they were on the air. They posted that the National Guard is, because of pushback from the community, that the Keller and the Medina and the administration have seen some sense, and they're going to postpone. They were supposed to start tomorrow. Because of training, though, they're delaying it a week. Okay, so I go to the rail yard, and there's Keller trying to get signatures because all of these candidates, okay, they all need a certain number thousand of petition signatures. This is not saying you're going to vote for them. This is saying, yes, you agree that they can run. And we have, I don't know, like 10 people running for the mayor's position. I think that's fantastic. That means that we'll have civic engagement, right? And Keller's not going to get an easy win. And these Dems are going to have to, finally justify what they've been doing. I mean, I'm not a Republican anymore. 20 years I was a Republican in Texas. But I moved back home and to take care of my parents. I mean, I went to high school and graduated in New Mexico. Went to college in Texas and came back, and was not too excited when I first moved back to New Mexico, because it's like a third world country out here. It is a little bit behind the times, and now that I'm older, I very much like that. And I'm kind of resentful of all those gentrifiers coming in, right? And I'm a colonizer as well. This is unceded Tewa territory in Albuquerque, and I would happily live under native society, preferred to the one that I'm in that doesn't value me because of my skin. And so yeah, anyways, and I'm a female, and that isn't high up on the GOP list. We're just incubators, and in their minds, and subservient. Yeah, I know how to cook, but I ain't cooking for anyways. In the plantation house that just got on fire last week. And then those people still trying to have weddings over there. There's Southern Belle weddings at a plantation, and it's not a racist thing. Sure, yeah. Anyways, back to New Mexico racism. So the National Guard, I put the pieces together last night, and thank you, Mr. Ubayas, for coming to our public forum. PSL had a press conference Saturday as well, about the same time we were having our public forum, and then Millions for Prisoners, Linda, they all they're pushing back Thursday night. Brown Berets, they are involved with that as well, right? So the mayor, or Medina, one of them, and I'm sure mayor was involved, he just didn't show up because, he knows this is really bad optics to have the National Guard come into Albuquerque. So here's how Medina's playing it, right? So I asked at City Council 2 weeks ago, no, I think it was actually May, this last one, last week, of who paid for Medina to fly out there to DC to go talk to Trump and his people. And I still haven't gotten an answer on that. I'm pretty sure the city. And then, come to find out, last night, KRQE's ran that story that there was going to be a delay, and then someone in the community put the pieces together, and it dawned on me once I kind of heard that, yes, New Mexico, it's not a sanctuary city, but we are a city of refuge, and the language is very different. But the mayor came out a month ago or so, 2 months, I don't know when, but this year, that the city employees from the city of Albuquerque are not going to participate or help assist ICE. Okay, ICE is up here in Albuquerque snatching people out of their cars. I just learned this morning. So we do need people to help go to detention centers and make sure those people are having access to attorneys, because ICE is not following the law. They're not giving them access to attorneys. They're not giving them water. They're not eating. They're snatching them up, getting them processed in 2 hours, right? Because it's a private prison thing, right? It's not about deportation or immigration law, right? It's because they need to fill up these private prisons. They are making money off of people being incarcerated. And even if they let them go 2-3 weeks later, right, they get to fulfill their little racist passion of locking up some brown people. Plus, the government is paying their buddies at these private prisons. Look at where the detention centers are. The private prisons in New Mexico are the ones that are being used as detention centers, okay? People are making money off this. Isn't about immigration, or did they come across the border with rules, with the right paperwork? Because the pilgrims showed up here, didn't have no damn paperwork, okay? So, Ubias is a man that I trust. I met him during a time in Albuquerque a few years ago where our Muslim community had some internal conflict and there were some murders. And because it was Muslim people, there was a thought that possibly, and this was still under Biden, and Ubias was the U.S. attorney for us, so they thought that possibly, right, there might be some nefarious, terroristic, hate-filled because they were Muslim. And it's unfortunate that it was within the Muslim community, but there is no but to that. It's unfortunate. Here's the dynamics, though, right? We have the Air Force Base, Kirtland Air Force Base, and so when we got out of Afghanistan and Iraq, we were using, I should have used that, we were using the native folks, Iraqis and Afghanistanis, who were helping U.S. soldiers, right, translating, getting them into villages, etc., right? And so when we leave out of there, right, we're bringing back people who helped us. Well, all of those folks are from different tribes, different clans. They don't all get along, but we put them all in one space in the international district in Albuquerque, and then we wonder why, they're against each other. So just like all black people don't know each other, all folks from, a certain region don't all know each other and may not all like each other. So that's sort of what happened. But I meet Alex during that time. He reached out. He was a very calm voice during a very scary time that we were not sure how we could help protect our Muslim community. And in the international district, and that is an area I'm very sensitive to, right, through the Black Lives Matter and seeing the over-policing and how they were falsifying the statistics, right, because they over-police so they can get more overtime, right? So if it looks like that area is really super bad with crime, blah, 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 then it justifies having more police in there, and then they get more overtime, they make more money, right? They're just making money off of harassing folks, and now we're going to be back to that because we don't have a CASA agreement anymore, and of course the U.S. attorney we have now is a Trumper, and now we have a mayor, right, who's saying with his mouth that, oh yeah, we are going to protect our refugees and our asylum seekers and the people we brought over, and then he has a chief of police who's partnering with Trump to how could we get around that, oh I know, let's bring in the National Guard who are not city employees, who are not bound by those protections that we have set in place as a community, and so they can partner with ICE all they want. Oh, so the drones now make sense because Albuquerque police have the drones, they just don't have licensed operators. Who has the licensed operators? Could it be? So the National Guard have licensed drone operator pilots, and APD has the drones. So guess who's been getting surveilled, people? There are so many cameras up and down Central, and now we have drones, have been, from a mile, half a mile up, watching everything, right? There's no privacy. We are being surveilled. There are no warrants being issued, right? Because we're walking and we're out in public. So again, we are needing people to help. And if you want to be on part of the emergency team, 6 o'clock in the morning, we're getting called to go out to the detention center. We're partnering with Native nonprofits. They are asking for help. They need privileged people to help protect the folks who are being harassed and picked on. So we're mostly looking for citizens, but if you are not a citizen and you have the courage, I wouldn't recommend it, but you can come out because these folks that are helping, right? They understand how dangerous it is. So we're looking for folks of privilege. I'm a folk of privilege. I have U.S. Citizenship. I mean, I was born here, so I mean, I was an anchor baby, but you know. So we're just looking for people to go out to these detention centers and hold these ICE officers accountable and make sure that folks have attorneys and they're getting water, because that's the other thing, is they're not giving them access to their attorneys like the law is saying they're supposed to do. But anyway, so I also am encouraging people to come out to city council meetings. Albuquerque City Council put the dates and times in here. All till November. Come out, every single city council meeting, come in person. We can't hold up signs, but we can have buttons. But whatever your issue is, you can come out and make comment about that and ask this administration, ask Keller, ask Medina. They won't be there. They're not going to answer, but you can say it in public comment, and the public is watching. And then also, because the city posts this stuff live stream and on YouTube, right, we can take clips of that, and then you can use that, right, to send to your people. Like, we ask these questions. We still aren't, we're waiting on these answers. And then next week, I asked last week or 2 weeks ago, what are the National Guard doing in Albuquerque? We still haven't gotten a straight answer. Like, those are the things we need to keep saying, it to keep alerting the public out there that this mayor is not honest. And so I saw him at the rail yards this morning as I was walking in with the petitions, right, to get signatures for Alex's campaign, Mr. Ubayas. And so I saw Mayor Keller, right? Eyeballs get all, right, because this dude normally takes off. I mean, 3 weeks we've been asking for a public forum. Dude, can you have a public forum and answer some questions? Nope, nope, nope. He had press conferences instead. So I finally see him out in public. He's trying to get signatures, so he's not going to run. And I know that he's going to have to answer. So I'm like, hey, thanks a lot for dialing back the National Guard. And he looks at me and I was like, yeah, I'm voting for this guy because of you and the National Guard. And then he's like, oh, no, they're going to be in offices. I was like, yeah, surveilling citizens, that's what they're going to do. And then all these people who are around his table who are about to sign, they look at him. I was like, yeah, ask him about the drones. Ask him about the surveillance of citizens without warrants. Ask him what the National Guard's going to be doing. But yeah, no, you're not right, Keller, and it's not right. And there are lots of people running for, a lot of good people who are running for office. For the mayor position. I personally am voting for Alex because I know him. I don't know some of the others very well, and there's a lady running. She might be good too. I just don't know her and I haven't met her, but I do know Alex. And I do know that when the city was in the marginalized people, when we were scared, and when after the Black Lives Matter, after Trump gets out, Biden appoints Mr. Ubayas, we didn't know how things were going to go, right? Because pretty much the Democrats have kept the same immigration policy, and they're lying if they say that they did not. But under Biden, they were still separating families. It just wasn't as obvious and as racist driven, but still the same policy, still the same private prisons. New Mexico's private prisons, and has under this Democratic governor and all these Dems that are running things here. So they're really not any better. They're same coin, flip side, and so that's why I'm an independent voter. But I am supporting Ubayas because I have found him to be a man of integrity. He's very solid, very calm. He led through these couple weeks. The FBI coordinated with them, right, to do this investigation. They were able to learn within a month or two of who had committed the crime, but he was calm. And that's the thing about, he's not into, he doesn't lean towards whoever gives him the most money, right? He was a prosecutor. And so people would be concerned about that because he was working for this system that is very rigged. What I have learned personally, having myself been detained and arrested right at protests and charged with criminal trespassing, UNM trying to make it so I couldn't protest on their, on that campus in Albuquerque. I think they had 2-year trespass is what they were trying to put on me. So I did need attorneys, and I did need people in the justice system who advocated for me. And so we do need good attorneys. We do need people in this very rigged system. And I believe that Mr. Ubayas, he's a man of character. He's a man of integrity. I support him. We agree on everything, but in fairness, and again for Keller knows this, and I think we've made this pretty clear, right? We try to go to the person first. I tried for 3 weeks to talk to Keller, trying to get him, the Indivisibles tried to get him to put on a forum, like he's avoiding. So then you leave us no other options but to call you out publicly, right? We tried privately, and then he had somebody, from his office call me on a different issue, but not call about the National Guard stuff. So that's why I'm not talking about this zoning baloney that you're doing next to my house, because I haven't had time to, talk to people and see what you all are going to be up to and do. But if that doesn't go well and you guys are just as slimy with that as you are with the National Guard, then yeah, I'll be making some videos about how public notice really isn't public notice. Anyway, so I highly recommend, so this video is to ask folks to start coming out to Albuquerque City Council meetings, and for these little Dem groups that you guys have your meetings on the same day and time that City Council is happening, the message that you're sending to us in the public is that you're up in some high cloud social group over there thinking that you're going to be, behind the scenes getting people elected or not elected, and you totally are missing the point that you are so disconnected from the actual people who these policies impact the most, like you don't care because you're not there. And that's kind of my mantra with Democrats. They don't care and they're not there. But Ubias has come out. He's come out to community. And before he was running, this is the other thing. He's not just out here because it's election year. He was out here with us before. So the Black Lives Matter leaders in Albuquerque, he reached out to us. When he became a U.S. attorney, that was another contact that I had with him then. I appreciated how he handled those situations, and we have had peace in Albuquerque throughout that time that he was U.S. attorney. We have had peace, right? So the protesting community and the city, and we were able to work things out, and we got through that season without anybody dying, being shot by police, or in my case, right, I was shot, but it was with a gas canister. But after that, nobody else. We had one event where the police came out with their SWAT. They tased people. They pepper sprayed folks. Both folks were hurt and injured. Two of those guys sued the city and won, but one of them was actually behind the whole thing. So, Tay, I still think you're a snitch. Or an ambassador to the police, right? Who we all know is corrupt as can be. So why you are an ambassador with Medina, yeah, suspicious. Anyways, I highly recommend that folks start coming out to city council meetings, making public comment, asking the questions that you want answers for. The city councilors will help you. They've been very good about getting answers, or asking different city departments to get answers. And most of the folks who are working for the city really are trying to do the best that they can. We've got really good people in these departments. I'm not going to say all the appointees that the mayor put in that are making $100,000 a year, and they're going to milk off the retirement teat of the state because they're in for 3 years doing we don't know what, getting paid a lot of money, and then of course the mayor's not there, they're gone, but they've already got vested in the retirement. And anyway, so then the rank and file who are making $15, $20, $25 an hour, right, they're not going to retire at that high retirement rate, and they've worked there 25, 30 years, right? So that's part of the problem with allowing a police chief and a mayor to appoint whoever the heck they want and pay them whatever they want. They're not vetted the same way. They don't have to apply the same way. And this mayor, lots of mayors have done it, but this mayor, Mayor Keller, $1.1 billion budget, and one of the things that he cuts is, anyways, I would like to have change. Let's give someone else a chance who has proven themselves to be calm, who has proven themselves they know the law, because he's an attorney and he was a prosecutor and he was a U.S. attorney, right? He knows the law, but he has a good heart. So that tells me that just because we do have criminals I-25, I-40 is human trafficking central. We do have a lot of drugs. We do have things going on. We have, because of poverty, we have a lot of people out on the streets, and they're doing some not so great things, and some of it is criminal. And so we need absolutely to address those issues, and we also need to do that through a lens of trauma informed, because we have a lot of trauma in this state, right, because of the colonization. So we have people who are displaced from their land, and because of the generations from the boarding schools, right, they are out here on the street self-medicating, and that's what we did to them, right? So now to then come back and criminalize these folks is just absolutely inhumane. And then to treat people, my friend Barbara Jordan was speaking yesterday at the public forum, or giving a response to people's question, and Arthur Bell, and thank you, City Councilor Rogers, Nicole Rogers, and Miss Tanya Covington, Restorative Justice Queen. So the Queen of Peace, that's what we're calling our little tour, Queen of Peace, and Arthur Bell will be our Prince Arthur when he has opportunity to join us. But we are going to be doing a series of public forums with the goal of trying or attempting to get information to those within the Democratic Party, mostly. I think they, the ones who are, ooh, National Guard's so great. Yeah, no, it's not, and let's tell you why that's a really scary thing to have them on the streets of Albuquerque or in Albuquerque, the precedents that sense, and then with the CASA agreement gone. Right, so June 7th, we're going to have another public forum in the morning. And the questions were tough. We only got through, we didn't even get through the first topic. We had 3. The goal was to define community, and then is it possible to have community policing? And so we were just talking about what policing is, what it could be, what we think it is. We didn't even get through like an hour and a half of really good, tough listening, discussion, comments, and what do we want. So we're going to have 5 more throughout this summer. The Queens of Peace. Barbara Jordan is with Press, which is, let's see, people experiencing systematic systems. No, people, let's see, Press. No, racism, people experiencing racism. Oh, I'm going to have to look that up. I'm apologizing, Ms. Jordan. But she's with Press. She's Executive Director for Press. Of course, Tanya Covington is Restorative Justice. And I am part of the New Mexico Stronger Together Coalition, which is 44 different groups in New Mexico that we just all partner together because we're small in number, all of the nonprofits, but together we are a large number. And we work together sometimes well, sometimes not, but as long as we kind of keep understanding it's not a competition, it's not a race, it's not who gets credit for this change or that change, or raising awareness for this or that, right? Truly in a coalition, it's how can we get, what resources do we have individually, collectively, that we can utilize to bring about change safely. And that's where I personally disagree with some of the groups in town, is that, yes, I have privilege, and yes, I have freedom to do, certain actions, but will the ultimate result of that actually put people in harm's way? That's kind of the question I always ask myself. Yes, we could set all the dumpsters on fire in Albuquerque, but how will that help marginalized people? Yes, we can block all the roads. We probably have the right to do that. We could get away with it, a couple hours of blocking roads, but and that we need those kinds of things too. I just would ask, ultimately, is that action bringing change or bringing awareness, and will there be consequences to marginalized folks? And so we just need to really be super, super cautious of how, in this very dangerous fascist time, how our actions as activists, organizers, and leaders, how does that impact those we say we are trying to help and advocate for? So let's be mindful out there, folks. I do ask you all to come to City Council. And this is how you can sign up for public comment. This is Mr. Ubalis's. This is Mr. Ubias's contact information, his website, how you can volunteer. He needs petitions signed, and he needs $5 donations. So really weird thing in Albuquerque, if they have, the state actually, they have a certain number of donors who donate at $5, then they can qualify, these candidates qualify for public financing for the rest of their campaign. So again, this is the part of the campaign where he's trying to, or the candidates are trying to get on the ballot. And to get on the ballot, they have to have a certain percentage of the voters that sign up and say yes. this guy can run. We know him. He's from this city. We think he should run, and you can sign for that. And then the $5 contributions, which is additional. Again, the same amount of people donating $5 so that they can qualify for public financing, which then will help, of course, with advertisement and things like that. So I'm not a Dem. I'm not going to any of their award parties or any of their little recruitment fundraiser parties at these people's houses, because some of those folks are the very ones saying, "Ooh, National Guard, great, great, great." Yeah, no. But Mr. Ubias, him I believe in, and he's not like a staunch, a do or die Dem always. He has a critical thinking mind, and he has pushed back against the Dem party, and that's partly why he's not getting as much public support from the Dem party, because again, we have a governor who just sent down a National Guard into a city that is the most diverse in the entire state. But